בסדר, אלנה, העיקר שבסוף הכסף יגיע ונוכל לקחת בחשבון את הכסף הזה. לגבי הזיכוי של העירייה שהמנהלת מבת ים שלחה לעשות.
Ah, bueno, Gaby, bueno, no. Perfecto, entonces, estuviste bárbaro.
Hola, Gabriel.
Hola, ¿cómo va?
Muy bien. ¿Cómo estás? Pero mira,
no te conozco todavía.
sí, ¿no? Pero mira, entraste en mi nombre. Entonces es un poco confuso porque dice
Qué
yo.
raro, espera, entonces salgo y mandame la invitación por mail, ¿ok?
Ok.
Ahí
Pero,
salgo.
ok, sí, dale, bye.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, español, inglés, hebreo,
Inglés.
ruso.
Anna,
English?
how are you?
Hey.
Good, guys. How are you?
Anna, how do I make Gabriel the host?
You go to members and then you click a right button on his name.
Okay.
And then you can make him like co-organizator or something like that. You see that?
So within the Zoom account, under My Meetings, there is a section that says Members.
Yes.
Okay. I don't see it.
It should be on your right. Like when you click the members, it's under the video, and then it's open on your right.
But is it within the Zoom page? Like I logged into Zoom as Masa community, and then I clicked on this. I clicked on this meeting, and then you're saying it's on the right.
Did you open the list of members? Like it should be separately, like everyone. There you can see the names of everyone.
No, I can't see the names of everyone. But it's within the like within the Masa community page. Like it has where all the meetings are. Is it within that page?
No, not where's all the meeting. You like in the regular window.
On this regular window here.
Yeah, where you see like members, chat, demonstrate the screen.
Oh, okay, so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Gabriel Mizrahi is now the host. I see. Superb.
Okay, I'm the host now.
But you can leave yourself also as a host if you need something, like you can make yourself as co-host.
Okay.
Just in case, you know.
When I click on more, it just says rename, but I think it's okay.
Okay, Martina. If you click on under your name, like Masa Community, you are able to make it co-host, no? Yourself?
No, it just says no, it just says mute or more, and then it just rename. But the important thing is Gabriel is the host, so.
I see the chat is working, Sababa, so we can send some links to Facebook groups.
Yeah, perfect. I'll send links.
Okay, great.
Who is in Israel and who is outside another country?
I'm in Israel.
You're in Israel? Okay. So people are connecting?
Yeah, I would. Let's wait a few minutes more.
Yeah, no problem.
And then we'll.
I'm just answering some chats and trying to get rid of this. So they let me be 1 hour. It's going to be difficult. Now it's an hour that everybody has something to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. But we'll start, Gabriel, we'll start in like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 minutes. It usually takes people like 5 minutes or so to come in.
Yeah, whenever you want to start. I told you, I have my time free now and I'm available. So
beautiful.
Whatever I can help, I will be happy to help.
Okay, fantastic.
Hi, Yohel.
Hi.
Gabriel, שלום. היי.
שלום.
שלום, שלום.
אתה מדבר עברית?
בטח.
יפה. אוקיי. אתה נמצא בארץ?
כן.
אוקיי, great. הלוואי והייתי בארץ עכשיו.
איפה אתה נמצא?
אני בבואנוס איירס.
וואלה. ואתה גר בארץ או שאתה בארגנטינה?
אני כבר 20 שנה גר בבואנוס איירס, ואני ישראלי, נחשב ישראלי.
הבנתי.
מי אתה?
אני ערן, מחפש עבודה בימי הקורונה, פחות או יותר.
אבל אתה ישראלי? אתה...
כן, כן.
אוקיי. אני לא מומחה גדול לחיפוש עבודה, אני פשוט מנהל בחברה ישראלית שאפשר ללמוד קצת ממנה על האופי של החברות הישראליות. זו חברה שמייצגת בסך הכל את החברות הישראליות של הטכנולוגיה.
טוב, נראה לי שזה לא רעיון טוב שאנחנו מדברים בעברית, אולי כדאי להחליף לאנגלית.
We are still waiting for other people to connect. I don't know, everybody can hear me now?
Yeah. You
can talk in English. I can say some words in Russian also, and Anna can understand me better. You know,
With
I
pleasure.
was, when my parents came to Israel, I was 5 years old. I was in Bat Yam, and I was in the place with a lot of Olim Chadashim, new immigrants. And most big part of them, they were Russian, from Russia. So I grew up with a lot of Russians. They were my best friends. So obviously I know to say all the bad words. I don't want to say it now because maybe there are some people that are listening, but I know to say many things, and I always, since I was hitting a lot of people all the time, so I was hearing Mama, Skajin Gabi, and this kind of words that I know from, you know, Mama Skajin. I had a dog, so a Russian dog. So Idi Suda, Kamie, Dailapu, everything. Oh.
Nice.
So,
Anna, how is his Russian? What is he saying? How is it?
It was quite good. I think you don't use it a lot in Argentina, right?
right. No, a lot of my best friends are Russian. I like the Russian. They're very good people. It's not like the Russian. I can put Russian as one category, but I have a lot of Russian friends. So many of them, and
nice.
From all my life.
Very nice.
So okay. I see someone with a mask over there.
Yep, it's definitely me.
Okay, Igor.
Yep.
Hi, Igor. Where are you? Where are you now? In Israel?
Yeah. Right now I'm in Park Yirkon in Tel Aviv.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice place.
Yeah. But I must wear a mask during this is open area.
Yeah, sure.
I hope you can hear me correctly.
Yes, Eran, I can hear. We talk.
Great.
You, Igor. Okay, yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So, Gabriel, although we don't have as many people as expected at this time, I think let's start. You know, for the people that are already here, if that's okay.
Okay. Okay.
So I just want to say, so before we get into your awesome presentation, I'm just going to say a few words about the Masa community for those that don't know yet. My name is Yoel, guys. Myself and Anna, who's also a part of this conversation. We are volunteers with Masa, with the Masa community, and we have a handful of volunteers that all have different responsibilities within the Masa community. And what Anna and I do is we help run the career development side of Masa. So a lot of things that you see on the Masa career development page, the Masa community careers opportunities page, we help run a lot of that programming. So if you guys ever have questions or want to see certain things or certain topics, you can feel free to reach out to us. In the chat, guys, I've also posted 4 different Facebook pages that you can go to and sign up at to stay in the loop with anything related to Masa, whether it be career or just programs in general. And then today, we have an awesome guest, Gabriel Mizrahi, who's actually calling in from Argentina, from Buenos Aires. And it's really great to have him here. He's going to introduce himself with more depth, but he's been living in Israel basically half of his life, and then in Argentina the other half of his life, and has a lot of experience in marketing and tech. And so we're going to hear his story along with some interesting facts about Israel. And so without further ado, Gabriel, I'll give you the mic, and you can take it away from there if you like.
Okay, great. I can start with the presentation. I can go faster because there's a few people and we can focus maybe on more on question and answers, but I will try to share the screen. And let's see, you can see the, can you see the presentation?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, so let's see, Okay, wait, I will try to move because I see you, okay. Okay, so thank you very much for having me here. I like always to help young people in Israel, in all over the world. I give a lot of conferences, but presently not by Zoom, in institutions, Jewish institutions, with Olim Chadashim and etc., etc. So today I'm going to talk about what makes Israelis so technologically advanced. Why people want to buy from Israeli company. And I think from this, you can understand a little bit more about the character of the Israeli companies, maybe what is the culture and how to try to fit in. I think it will help you, and you can stop me whenever you want and ask questions, okay? And I will go a little bit faster because we are few, and I think that we try to focus on your questions. So, few things about me. You see, I was born in Argentina. Please don't say it out loud because it's not I'm not very proud to be an Argentinian because it says Argentinians, they think they are the best in the world. So I was born in Argentina. We came to Israel when I was 5 years. Today I'm married with 3 kids. My oldest kid, Danielle, was born in Israel. She's 22 today. I was in Bat Yam. I grew up in Bat Yam. I went to the primary school and secondary school in Bat Yam. And then I was in the military service in the Air Force. I was 4 years because I was doing a special job, so I have to sign 1 year. I don't know if the people here went to the army or not. You can tell me later or now. I learned a lot about when I was in the army. For example, I was in the intelligence Air Force, and I learned about the meaning of information, having information, knowing about the market, and I implemented it in my business life and in my life. I know that information is something very important in everything. If you know, you can react, and if you know, you can win tenders, and if you know, you can do differently things. We can talk about it more in depth in the following in the presentation. More about me. Most of the Israelis, I finished the army and I went for 1 year. I was mochilero. By the way, this presentation was made by Juan Ignacio Quesadas, one of my assistants. Thank you very much for him. So maybe I will find some surprises here that he made for me. I learned in Tel Aviv. I did my BA in business administration. And after a few years, I made my MBA also in business administration. I did MBA while working in Dorot, in the company that I work for today. And this is more pictures about me. This is my family. I have 2 more sons. I don't know if you can see the dog, Lolo, and the cat, Nina. This is the things I like. I like to swim. This is the last vacation in Japan. This is the last picture we have together. This is my pool. I have a pool in my building. This is my pool. I swim every day. Not now because the corona, everything is closed. I like to go on trip by bicycle. I like to do yoga. So every place I go, I make the tree. You know what's the tree in yoga? So this is in Cuba. But I have an album of trees. Everywhere I go in the world, I have like 200 trees like this. I go as a voluntary in the nursing home of the Jewish community in Salvador. I don't do it now lately because of the corona, but I was doing it until last year. And since 1993, I started working as an employee in Dorot marketing. I was marketing director. It was a small company of $1 million. Today we are a company of 100 million. And I was the one who started Latin America. Nobody knew about Latin America, and I started working in Latin America, and today is the most important market we have. In 2000, we decided that we're going to do a relocation for 2 years. Yes, you listen correctly, 2 years. So I came with my wife and my baby child, Danielle. She was 1 year and a half for 2 years in Argentina. And as you can see, something happened in the way we are still here, 20 years. Actually, the business were very good. And after a few years, I became part of the company owner. And then I sold my part and I became independent. And today I work for Dorot, but I'm not an employee because I have other companies, other businesses. But this is my main activity, the marketing manager of Dorot. I've been doing this since 1993. I think 27 years or 28 years. Okay, so this is me. This is a picture of last WATEC exhibition in Israel. I was on the TV on this channel. I don't remember the channel. It's here. It's channel is I-24.
Yeah.
And that's the introduction about me. Any question until now? Okay. So let's go. Why Israel? What makes Israel so technologically advanced? Why we buy from Israeli company? And I think that this is something that we learn from our past, and it's still, we have it in our vein, in our character, in our culture. So let's start what's coming here. Let's start with the case of Dorot, and we can learn about the cases of many companies in Israel. So as you all know, we manufacture valves. Everything started in Israel with the necessity and the ideology. The ideology that came, many people came from the countries that now are ex-Russian. They have one main ideology that, you know, it's a socialism. Socialism, you mean you work, you give what you can, and you receive what you need, not more than this. So the new immigrants came to Israel in 1930, or before or after, with the ideal of the socialism, and that we must live by the agriculture. So they came to a country with this ideology. And so you can see here in the picture, a picture from Givat Brenner in 1930 that people are trying to live from agriculture. So what were the conditions in the time? So you know that most of Israel, or a big part, was swamps, difficult to do anything. And then there was no water distribution. Big problem, because you want to live from agriculture and you don't have water distribution. And wait, I'll put my glasses so I see better. Okay. So another part of the country was a complete desert. So how can you live with agriculture if it's a desert? It's impossible. And the climate is bad because you have 10 months of a year, you have heat, it's dry, no rain. You know it if you live in Israel. You don't have machinery to work the agriculture, so you need to invent machinery. But there is really not much of a choice because you came to Israel and this is the moment to do what you wanted to do. If you don't do it now, so the chance is to go back to your origin that it's impossible. I don't need to mention that there was a big war and all the countries around were enemies of Israel until today almost. And this is a word that I like to use all the time, that it's CHUTZPAH. And since you live in Israel, most of you know what is CHUTZPAH, but people are trying to understand this kind of character, it's CHUTZPAH. And there is no really word, stubbornness, nerve, atrevimiento in Spanish, I don't know in Russian, but this is something that if you don't understand it, you think that it's something, a bad word. But I believe that because I was born with a lot of chutzpah, this is something that the Israeli managed to achieve a lot of good results because we have the chutzpah, we try things that others won't try. So this is the conditions that I think that is important to understand the background of the Israeli companies, and also the results of this you see today. Okay, now we will keep talking about it so you understand what I mean if you didn't understand so far. So look, Gan Shmuel, you see people are trying to work. You see this is what they have, 1938. You know Kibbutz Urim, this is Kibbutz Urim. What is Kibbutz Urim? It's a desert. You see nothing. You know Kibbutz Urim today, you see the picture, this is picture from 1915, but it's still valid for now. You know the city Beersheba? You see Beersheba in 1950, so this is Beersheba now, and when my wife saw this, she said, no, put another picture of the lakes, a better picture, but this picture shows the difference. You see desert, you see a modern city, okay? So, and also the problem of the water. There was no water, so they invented some machinery to drill the water wherever they can. And they managed to put pumps, and also they brought the water from the Sea of Galilee. It's in the north, 400, 500 kilometers to bring the water. It's crazy, but they did it. So these are things that it's not obvious that you will do it. You need to have a geology. You need to be stubborn to do this. All the kind of treatment plants that in Israel, there is no wasting water. All the water, even the sewage, you recycle it and you use it. You can drink it also. No country, there is no country that do it. If you've been in Argentina once, you see that they don't pay for the water. You have water everywhere. You throw it, you waste it. All the doormen are irrigating the pavement with water to clean it. In Israel, it's crazy to think about it. If you see a drop, you go and you try to close it. The issue of the desalination plants, the purification plants. You know this drip irrigation, it was invented in Israel. Why they invented this? Because there was no water, and they want to do agriculture, and you don't have water, so you try to invent. So you invent the drip irrigation. So every drop counts. You have one drop, you put it in the roots, in the place that it's more effective. This is an Israeli invention. Now everybody do it. But it is a Jewish mind that has to understand the problem of the water that can invent these kind of things. Okay? Now I have something. All the smart usage of water. I go fast because we talk about this. And Dorot, for example, look. This is Dorot in 1946, 2 years before the creation of Israel. So they knew that they want to do something about water technology to save water, to manage the water. So Dorot start manufacturing valves. This is the first valve of Dorot. Today, it's something different. Today, just I put some pictures to show you what is Dorot today. Dorot is a group of some companies. We are all over the world. See, Argentina, this is me in Mendoza. This is me in Cuba. You see our air valves all over the world. Wait, what is this? In Costa Rica, California, Beijing, power station in China, in Mexico, you can see in Brazil, Rwanda, okay? So just to understand the idea. Here I have some facts about Israel, but I think that we can pass it very fast because you're living in Israel. This is more for people that are from outside, okay? You see Tel Aviv is the second most important place for innovation. The highest spending of R&D by percentage of GDP. The largest number of startup per capita, Israel. We talked about the irrigation that was invented in Israel, the Air Force, the role that Israel played in global affairs. This is Nobel Prize. You see, we have 12 Nobel Prize. It's 1 per 700 inhabitants. The longest life expectancy. all the thinking out of the box. And of course, the chutzpah that I think that it is a part of the Israeli that had the nerve to do something with the conditions that were impossible, okay? So I put here some points of discussion, and then we can start talking about questions and things that you are interested. Okay, any questions so far?
Yeah, Gabriel, could you go back to the beginning of those 10 interesting points? I actually found them to be really interesting, and even though I've been living in Israel, it would be great to hear even a little bit more about each one. I don't know how the rest of the group thinks, but all of them sounded actually pretty interesting. And there may be things that we know about, but nobody has ever told us in detail about what it is. Like Tel Aviv being the second most important place for innovation. Like you've heard that, but if you're open to elaborating a little bit more on each point, I would be really interested to learn a bit more about that. Because I actually didn't even know that it's the second most important place for innovation.
Yes, you know, we know that many people in all over the world that want to go to a place that that they care for innovation, and you have a chance of succeeding with some kind of idea. So they come to Israel and specifically to Tel Aviv. Okay, so if there is people that any country, let's talk about Latin America that I'm working for 30 years, but you got people in Argentina, for example, and people are coming to me because they know I'm from Israel and they have an idea for innovation. So they tell me, I have an idea and I want to find a place to go to Israel because we know that Israel, it's a place that they try to improve, they try to help, they try to embrace the innovation, they support the innovation, you can find budget for innovation, anything related to innovation, that you go to Israel and they will look at you differently, okay? So everybody knows, and it's a fact, that people that have some idea and they are looking for innovation, they're trying to contact Israel, and they're trying to call in Israel to contact people in Tel Aviv, okay? Tel Aviv is a place that people go there, try to find a company, try to work there, or try to associate with company in Tel Aviv, because the culture in Tel Aviv is that it concentrates a lot of companies that are dealing with startup and innovation, okay? And you can see here some examples of development in Tel Aviv. The USB that and the phone, and the first antivirus, and Waze, and many, many other things that were developed in Israel. So this is the first point, okay?
Great.
If we want to go to the second point, so this is something that my son yesterday told me, that Israel has the highest R&D percentage by GDP, by gross product, okay? So this is a fact. This is something that we check in internet, and it's true. So if you have a company and they spend 5% on R&D in Israel, and the normal spending on R&D is 1%, so you will have a lot of result in Israel. I can tell you that in Dorot, we spend between 7 and 8% of the budget we spend on R&D. It's a lot. Not always it gives you the result, but since the mentality in Israel and in my company is that we need to grow every year, because if you don't grow and the environment is dynamic, it's changing all the time, so we need to grow. So in order to grow, you need to invest in R&D, because if not, so your products are reaching maturity. And if you're not Coca-Cola or you're not Apple, also Apple is doing all the time R&D, of course, but if you're not innovating, so the competition is going to take your marketing share. So we need to innovate. So we have valves, for example, and every time we need to make something better. A smart valve. Today we are talking about valves that are connected to the big data and to the internet and machine learning, and every time it gives you a real picture about the water consumption and the water leakage. And I don't want to enter specifically this because I need 2 hours to talk about it. But the idea is that it's obvious for us that we need to spend a lot of budget on R&D. And Israel is #1 in R&D percentage according to GDP. Okay?
Okay, I have a quick question. I see
Great.
here the fact that it says tech employees accounted for 8.7% of the national workforce. Do you know in other countries or globally, like what percent of tech employees account for other countries? For example, in Argentina, like what would be the percent of tech force?
The only thing I know is the second place is South Korea, and it's close to Israel, and the rest are down below. It's all I know. I don't have the data. I could find it, or you can find it in the internet, but Israel is the highest, and the second is South Korea.
Got it.
And then they're far behind the other companies.
I would imagine the US is probably up in the top 3 as well. Maybe.
Maybe. I don't have the data. We can look for it. It's not a...
No problem. I was just curious. No problem.
Okay. So this is something also that we check in the internet, and we saw that Israel has the largest number of startups per capita. And if you are talking absolute numbers, so USA is the #1. Okay. Israel was in the 8th place globally, but in the 1st place per capita. Okay. And far above all the other countries if you compare it per capita. And the 2nd place per capita is South Korea. Okay. This is the data I have now. You see, just in Tel Aviv now, they have 1,000 startups in Tel Aviv. Okay?
Okay, great.
Okay, drip irrigation, it was invented in Israel 50 years ago, and we are leaders in the market. Yes.
Can I ask a small question on what you just said? When do you define a company as a startup, and when it's like already considered like an established company, like to do that count of the number of startups in Tel Aviv?
I think that a startup is a company that still don't have really sales, and is investing more money than earning money. This will be my definition for a startup. And when you become a company that you start working, so you become a high-tech company, but not a startup. Startup is a company that's still working on the idea, spending a huge amount of budget on the R&D, and still don't have regular sales. This is my definition for startup. Maybe somebody has something different or more precise, but this is a startup company, a company that start with the idea, and it's now in the development of the product. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, we don't need to talk about the Air Force and the Army, but it's a big source of innovation, because the Army is like a big customer for technology. And myself, when I was in the Army, I was in a lot of capacitations for secret equipment, and I was outside in some industries all the time learning. So the Army is like a source and a motor for development. We need to be, the Israeli Army has something that I don't know if other army has it. We are really in a danger of existence. It's not a joke, and it's not a practice. Israeli is an alert of it's in a constant alert. Sadly for us, but this is the situation, we know it. So it's like a company that needs to survive and innovate. We need to be superior on our environment, So in order to keep the superiority, we need to invest all the time in R&D. And you know that the army is investing, and in the army is like a leader in the innovation. So this is something that also important for the industry of Israel, the army that always trying to innovate. Okay, this is something general, that Israel is a small country, but is always playing a large global affairs. I don't think we have to add more beside this. You know, Nobel Prizes, Israel is 12 Nobel Prizes. And if you compare it per capita, so it's like a Nobel Prize per 700 inhabitants. It's the largest number in the world, okay? Also, since it's a developed country, we are the 8th place in longest life. It's important if you are living in Israel. This is something that we always do. We are trying to think out of the box. We do in the company a lot of brainstorming, and we try to think out of the box, and we do it, I think, with a lot of success. And it's something cultural in Israel to think out of the box. It's not obvious. And this is something that I think that if you have the Israeli mentality, so you can be a chutzpan. Chutzpan is somebody chutzpah. When I came to Argentina, they were saying always that I have some characters different of the culture, that I speak about things that they don't speak, because, you know, if you want to speak about, for example, your salary, so everybody is very confidential, but in Israel we compare and we talk about it. So it's like something that we have in our DNA, the chutzpah, for good or for bad. I think it's for good. So take it or leave it. We have the chutzpah, we have results of this character, and it's something that we have it from by living in Israel or by being with Israel. So, okay, before we start, if you want to ask something, or we start the point of discussion, then we can, while I put this point, you can talk about it. It's not something that we need to, you can do open discussion about this. For example, I just put the need in the ideology, and the consequences of it you see now, because the people were stubborn and were trying to do the impossible with the current condition that you saw before, the swamps, the desert. So they invented the drip irrigation, and they invented the control valves, and they invented many things in water technology, because it was the need. They don't have other choice. So this is the consequences of the conditions. For example, everybody goes to the army, right? many of you, or all of you, or some of you went to the army. So what do you get when you get to the army? You get to the army when you're 18. When you're 18, you are still a boy. So we compare it to the people in Argentina, for example, and people of Israel. So I was 18, I go into the army. Suddenly they give you responsibility. And you start getting responsibility that you don't get in other places. In Israel, when you are 18, you go to the army. In Latin America, for example, when you are 18, you can do many things. You can do nothing. You can go to study. You can start to work. You can go for a trip. But in Israel, you go to the army. So it's like a discipline. You got this discipline that here they see it first. They said, okay, you are wasting 3 years of your life. I don't think you're wasting anything, because the time of the army made you stronger, give you values, prepare you for studying maybe. I will tell you some something that I remember from the army. I remember many things from the army. After 2 years in the army, I was the commander of unit. I have my soldiers, and this is, I think, one of the best time of my life being in the army. But I will share with you something I remember. When I started in the army, we're doing like Tironut. It is the initial training. I was in the Air Force. So there is something that you do you do a trek. You need to walk 10 kilometers, okay? It's a training. So you have your weapon and you have some equipment, the communication equipment, you have the water, it's 5 kilos on your back, okay? So before you start walking, most of the equipment, it's in the middle, okay? So now we start walking, everyone is taking something, okay? So I saw people that were hurrying to take something fast. So they take the jerry cans, 5 kilos. They take the communication, it's 10 kilos. So first I was thinking to myself, okay, why be in a hurry? I wait 1 second and all the equipment disappear. I stay with my backpack and my weapon. It's nice, okay? I walk 10 kilometers with my weapon and some personal equipment in my bag. I don't have to carry 10 kilos of communication or the water or whatever. But after 1 or 2 weeks, I noticed that if I don't do it, they will notice that I never do it because everybody are fighting to take the equipment fast. So after 1 month, maybe, the mentality I have is when they put something, you take fast what you can. It's like something, it's like an unwritten agreement that everybody are trying to do to help as much as you can. It's something that I learned in the army. Before that, he tell you, okay, you can walk 10 kilometers without anything or with a weight of 10 kilos of your back. What would you do? I will go without it. But after you go to the army and you see this experience, and I remember it every day of my life. So you jump and you take whatever you can. Okay? Is it clear, this example? This is something you get in the army. I have many examples. I can try to talk from now until tomorrow. But let's give it try to other points. For example, this is we are trying always to break through and to be pioneers. We always trying to sell something in a country that nobody could sell. I did it myself many times, going to a country that nobody worked, and we start working there because we insist it's like a challenge for us to, if nobody sold there, so let's try to do it. If nobody could do something, let's try to do it us. Like impossible is nothing for us. We try to do. This is something that we try to do in the company, in the Israeli companies. And I think I put it in the other point of discussion, but I'll give you an example. Israeli, yes.
Can you give an example about, can you give us an example about a time when you went to, like you said, to other country and you sold them something?
Yeah, I have many examples that I went to a country. I started working in Central America, for example, and they were not buying irrigation equipment. I went to Honduras 25 years ago. I went and I heard they were selling, in my case, manual valves. The valve that you have to close and open manually. And we have automatic valves. We open it with the water pressure. So we went there and I was making a presentation in a city called Tegucigalpa. And they were saying, but we don't understand why we have to buy these kind of things. And I showed them that the valve, the manual valve is stuck. You have to put force, and our valve is hydraulic. You just need to turn on the handle. So it was difficult for them to believe. So I told them, okay, you know what? Take a sample. Don't pay it now. Pay it if you want it. And I give them a free of charge sample. And they put it and they use it. And then we start selling. It's like, okay, you don't sure, take and try it. We didn't give up when they told us we don't use this. So we think that we have a solution that can comply with your necessity. So if we don't find a place, a way to sell it, we give it for experience, okay? And I have examples of like this. Every country you mention, I can give you an example. This is something that not only the Israeli, but especially the Israeli, we do it. We never give up. If they don't want to buy it, okay, why? Let's try to find the reason they don't want to buy it. And if it's the money, okay, so try it. And after you see the benefits of it, so you pay for it, because nothing, if you give something free, it worth no money. So you need to pay for it also to make it worth money. Okay? Other questions from so far?
Yeah, well, I don't want to stop you from this piece, but I do have more questions related to your career in general. But I don't want to like disrupt the flow of the current segment. So should I wait a little bit?
No, it's open discussion. I think that we can talk whatever you are interested. So please go ahead.
So the first question that I would have is I'm interested in like how you even really began your career around the age of like 22, 23, 24, and like where you first started there and like what the stages were until you got to where you are now, you know? And so like where were you at 22 and kind of how did you enter that job field, and then how did you progress throughout your career? I would be interested to know.
Okay, let's try to tell it, but in a short way, because I need many hours to talk about it. But you can understand, I finished the army when I was 22 because I was 4 years in the army. And then I went 1 year for Latin America as a mochilero to travel. And then I fell in love in Latin America. And I had in my mind, I want to work in Latin America. I love Latin America. And then you go back and you start university. And university, you are very good. I have distinction. I have highest notes. Everybody said, "Oh, this is a promise, this guy." But when you're looking for a job, they asking you, "What is your experience?" I have not really experience. So this was a weak point when I was studying for my BA, and in the last year of the BA of the university, I started to work in some sales jobs just to get some experience to sell. And it's very difficult to start because everybody that wants to take you to work, they said, we need experience. So in my case, I managed to find a place that they sell air condition and they just give me a commission, a very, very small salary just to cover the fuel, etc. So they gave me the chance and I start selling a lot. So this, at the beginning, I started like something that they don't have to pay a lot of money. You need to work hard and to show that you work hard. And then I had the opportunity to work for Dorot. How did I get to the job? In my time, it was ads in the newspaper. So I sent a letter and they make a lot of exams and they say, okay, we can receive you, but this is a small company. We can pay you only a minimum salary. So when I started in the road, I came to a kibbutz. There was a kibbutz in a company that sold mostly to Israel. They sold in total $1 million, 800,000 in Israel and $20,000 outside. And I said, I think I can start the Latin America market. So okay, and I start traveling in Latin America looking for markets. And I was traveling from Israel with a suitcase like this, huge suitcase, and I was traveling for 3 weeks. No communication, no telephone, no internet, nothing. Only faxes once in a while because it was very expensive. And I was very stubborn because the only way I could get information were in Yellow Pages. You know what is Yellow Pages? Yeah. Yellow Pages was like the only thing you are looking for in a company, you get Yellow Pages because there were no internet. and the only way to get information is through the yellow pages. So every place I went, I was taking the yellow pages of irrigation and valves, and I was keeping it in a file. So I still can find in my house the yellow pages. Now they became green from being so many years. But I was calling every company, okay, my name is Gabriel. I want to offer you control valves, Modernic. Sometimes they will tell me, okay, not now. So I will call again. And sometimes they will tell me, okay, you can come at 3 o'clock. So I will go there. It's like a working of an ant, step by step. Start to walk until I did my first sale in Mexico. And then I keep going and going and going and going. It was like always trying, always working, always going and insisting. Sometimes I went for a place. I can tell you, in Argentina, for example, I called the place far away, try to sell something. And they told me, please come. So it was a city that called San Francisco Morteros. Nobody knows about this city. So in order to go there, I need to take a flight to Cordoba, 1 hour, to rent a car, and to go 4 hours. And I did it, and I go there. It took me 1 day to arrive there. And when I arrived there, the person that talked to me on the phone was busy in the tank upstairs, was taking care of some problem, and they sent me other guy to talk to me, number 2. And I told him, but I came especially from Buenos Aires to, yeah, but he's busy. Talk to me. So I said, okay. So I talked to him 2 hours. Everything I could, I talked to him. I felt like I was wasting my time, but I did it anyway because I was there. And I went back. I drove to the airport and I went back to Buenos Aires and I forgot about that. 4 months later, I got a phone call from the assistant that now he was appointed the manager, and he told me they want to buy the valves. And they bought the valves. It was like $300,000 project. So what can I tell you? This is not always like this, but if you insist and you try, and it still is there is a possibility to win, I do everything. I never give up. My wife said that I never get a no. Maybe, but it's like because I'm not convinced that the no is definitely no. And I have many colleagues that work the same way I work, because we are always trying to get our targets. So to do the story short, I start working in Latin America, and it kept growing and growing and growing and growing, and the company kept growing all the time. And Latin America became the main market of our company, Dorot. And in one point in 2000, I was more traveling than staying in Israel. And you know, it's long. I was traveling from Israel to Argentina, Chile, Brazil, and then back. And after a week, Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, and back. I have the records of flying, I think, and mileage in the history. So we decided maybe to stay for 2 years in Argentina. And then for me, it's easy. I go to Chile 2 hours and go back. I go to Brazil 3 hours and back. Same. So I start earning sales and confidence step by step. In one point, when the Latin America market became 80% of the company, and I had 80% of the sales of the company thought, maybe it's dangerous to be dependent on me or one employee have all the company. So I become partner in the company in some percentage. And then when the company was sold to Sari Harrison, if you know her, so I sold my part and I became independent. So in short, all this that I gather is by traveling a lot, by insisting, by gaining market, also talent. You have to have some talent in marketing, of course. I cannot say that everybody can do it if you don't have some talent. Self-confidence, and a lot of hard work. Okay, this is in summary the way I managed to get up to now.
But what do you think kept you in it? You know, because in the beginning, like you said, it was slow and you kept having to push and push and push and push. So what was it that kept you pushing?
Yeah, the belief that you can do it kept you motivated. And this is in our blood, maybe, to do things and to believe in that you can do it. This is what kept me going. I believe that the Latin America market has a huge potential. Now everybody knows it, that it has a huge potential. When I started selling valves, for example, we sell the valves and irrigation to the wineries. When we start selling to the wineries in Chile, Argentina, they were irrigating in floods, just floods, you know, they made channels and the flood is irrigation. Today, the wineries are irrigating in drip irrigation, and the wineries in Argentina and Chile are the most famous in the world. Now it's something that it went up a lot because they start using our technology and they make a better wine, more quality wine. So something that we start in the beginning, like trying to convince them that this is something that will improve your business. And the motivation was that we believe that it's going to improve your business because we are motivated and we have the culture of believing that what we do is the right thing. This is what I can tell you. It's not a trick or something that you can tell something, do this way and you will succeed. It's a matter of hard work, ideology, education, culture. This is what I think.
Yeah. No, it's good take, because what I'm taking away is it was literally just step by step plus belief is how you arrived.
Yeah,
And
there are no shortcuts. How you said?
yeah,
Shortcuts.
Yeah.
And
did you, like, how did you know that you liked sales or marketing? You know, because especially for me, when I kind of have a clearer path, but in the beginning it was hard to understand like which direction I wanted to go professionally. And so how did you kind of land on sales, on marketing? Was it out of necessity, out of practicality, or like how did you kind of find your professional path?
Yeah, it's easy for me to answer that because everybody that knows me thought that I will make a lot of money. I don't know why, but they think he will make a lot of money. And I always have the idea that I'm going to be an accountant. Okay? So also when I went to Latin America, I just left everything ready to go to Tel Aviv University to be an accountant. And I started as an accountant in the business school, learning accounting. So in my first year, I learned accounting, but I learned also financial and marketing. And when I learned marketing, I understood that marketing is not what I thought. It's not sales marketing. Marketing is strategy. Marketing is human behavior. Marketing is making decisions. Marketing is research. Everything you do is marketing. And I start liking it. So after 1 year, I just moved from accounting to market. And everybody was telling me, you're crazy, you're a promising accountant because I have very high notes, etc. But I understood that I like marketing. I like people, I like conversation, I like presentation. I start learning a lot of things with the marketing, complementary, about human behavior. For example, I learned a lot about the body language and I use it all the time. Maybe in the Zoom, it's not so important as in personal life, but I learn how to look at the people and how to see the body language and the eye contact and the orientation, all of this. This is a small part of the marketing because everything that you go in the organization starts with the marketing. If you don't start with the marketing, the chance that you will succeed is lower because if you go with the marketing, so you develop product after you understand the market need. And to understand the market need, you need marketing. So the R&D starts with the marketing. It's not like you, okay, I have an idea. Let's develop it, and then we start to analyze the market. It's wrong. You need first to understand the need. And you understand the need, you develop something, and always you were checking the needs if they change or not. I made in my life, I don't know how many marketing research that turn into sales and exit, because I understood, always ask the people what they need and always understand what they need, not understanding what you want to do best. You need to understand what they need. So if I answer your question, when I noticed that I like marketing, when I was learning for accountant and I was also learning some courses in marketing, I felt like the illumination. I felt like, wow, this is what I like to do. And I think I'm good in this. So I went to marketing. And afterwards, I also did my MBA on marketing, administration, business administration, orientation marketing. And I still learning marketing all the time, because marketing is never ending story. You can learn always. It's like a way of life, marketing. You always sell something you are always trying to sell yourself to the customer, to your friends, to your kids, to everybody. You are playing a role and you're selling yourself. This is life. This is what you do. I hope I answered your question.
No, definitely. It was helpful because it's kind of like saying you need to try different things. And it's almost like for you, you weren't necessarily looking for something. It kind of found you in a way. And you were kind of going down one path and then you tried something different. And that's kind of how you found it. And so it makes me think that, you have to keep an open mind and you constantly have to try new things because you never know what you're going to end up liking.
Exactly. And I have 3 sons. The second son, Thomas, is a nerd of computer, a programmer. So he was in Israel startup last year in ISE, and now he's in Argentina studying. But I have another son, Idan, is in Israel now, in Israel experience also. And he says to me, they need to do now the experiments. And he says, I don't like marketing, everything except marketing. So okay, no problem. I think that he's a great marketing person because he's very politically and he has a lot of orientation, but he says, I don't like marketing. I want to do anything except marketing. So marketing is not for everybody. I think that for me, I enjoy it very much and I like interaction with people. I have a strategic mind. I can think a lot of things. I think out of the box. If this is what you feel, so maybe marketing is for you. But if it's not what you feel, so it's not for you, maybe. You need to see if you like it and if you are good in it. Because not everybody is good in marketing. Sometimes, for me, it's very easy to start a new business. You tell me, okay, I have this kind of product that can comply with the need of this kind of people. So I can easily analyze if it's something that is going or not. I have this feeling and this hunch to see these things very fast. So that's the reason I help a lot of companies. That's the reason I now have a lot of companies and I work with many companies because I have this hunch of marketing. But not everybody has it and not everybody likes to do marketing, okay?
And you've mentioned an interesting point that is, and guys, feel free to jump in. I just have a lot of questions. It's like, and so one thing is you have to be naturally good at your field. But my question is going to be, if I wanted to do marketing professionally, right? If I wanted to enter the job market and do marketing, or if I wanted to work in tech, I know you've had employees under you. What are things that you as a manager, as a director, look for in other employees? What do you look for in team members? What kind of knowledge, skills, experiences, especially younger people like ourselves in their 20s, 30s, What are you looking for, like skills, experience, knowledge-wise?
Okay. I made many interviews in my life, and I have also many managers that are in Costa Rica, in Argentina, in Brazil. I have people in Israel, I have people in many countries. First of all, they need to understand that they want to work in marketing and sales. If I'm interviewing a person and I'm trying to see if it's the correct person for me, first of all, I want to see a person that is open-minded, okay? Has open mind to think openly, to think out of the box, and to be open for new ideas. Second thing that I'm looking in people, and always, it's good communication. I want to see that he knows to make communication, he has to make eye contact, he has to smile, he has to be open. I can read his body language and to see all of this, but normally you can see a person that is communicative and it make the conversation very warm and fluent, okay? So open mind, good communication. Then I will look for somebody that can be hardworking, because my team and me, we work 24 hours. There is no vacations, there is no Sunday or whatever. If you need to work, you work. If you don't need to work today now, you can take your time and be flexible. Nobody is checking your hours. But when we need to work, we work. 12 o'clock at night, 1 p.m., 1 a.m. or whatever. Or Saturday, if you're not religious, or Sundays if you're in Latin America. I always have with me my team, hardworking people, and they know that if we need to work now, we work in many hours as possible. Normally we work globally. We don't have hours. We have global hours. It means you don't work 8 hours. You can work one day 12 hours, one day you can work 6 hours. But we work as much as we need. Okay? Like the socialism. We work the much as we need and we give all we have. After this, in my case, I look for somebody that can travel a lot, because we travel all the time. This is the first time in my life that I'm staying in one place more than 2 or 3 weeks. It never happens in the last 30 years. I wasn't never more than 2 or 3 weeks in one place. I always travel. I just came back from Israel in March, and I stay here until now because, you know, the reason we cannot travel. But in normal situation, I need people that can travel. If it's inside Israel or it's outside Israel, the Israeli companies always work abroad, okay? Because Israel, it's a small country, it's a small market, and most of the country are exporting. So I will look for somebody that can travel. And now it leads me to the next thing I will look in the people. It's foreign languages. I will look for English plus. In my case, I speak English, Spanish and Portuguese. I will need people that speak Spanish. Okay, English, it's a condition, but also Spanish. So languages, it's an advantage. If you have many languages, in my case, I speak 4 languages. The order of speaking is Hebrew, Spanish, English, and Portuguese. More or less, I speak the same level. Okay, so I will look for somebody that can travel and they will have the ability to learn language. And the last thing I will look for the people, unless I'm trying to help somebody to experience, is experience. I will look for some years of experience, work experience. Unless I'm trying to help somebody to get some experience at work. If I have this possibility, I have vacancy for somebody like this, I will use it. but normally I would like to have somebody that has some experience. How do you have next experience? You go and you find a job and you try to experience, even if it's not your job, if your dreams, like I did. I work in sales, everything I could. Before I came to the road, I worked like 2 years in different work trying to sell, because nobody will get me in a position I wanted as a manager, and they will like to ask, what is your experience? So even if you don't get what you want, you start with something and you try to appoint something higher in the future, but you start with something. You do what you can now. Okay, this is the things that occurs to me now, that I will want somebody as character for working.
Yeah. And what about, and you mentioned like you have to go get a job, and it makes me think about, you know, because there's so many times in life where where you're looking for work and you need to literally find a job. And so do you have any tips on how you can actually find a job? Like if you're looking for a job in the tech field, especially here in Israel, obviously you can just apply to open applications, but do you have any suggestions for what the best way to reach out to companies might be? Maybe ways that employees or people that you've worked with have reached out to you, or ways that you've reached out to other people. Like, I don't know if you have like secrets or tips, you know, if there are different channels that you can reach out to companies to kind of give yourself an advantage in finding work. So in other words, the basic question is, do you have any strategies in finding work? And do you have any strategies in how to actually get in touch with a decision maker that can maybe do something for you and give you a job?
Okay, I can give you some tips using my information.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, this time of the corona is very difficult. I think that we are talking about after the corona, because today it's different. But first of all, I will tell you that take the work, even if you don't earn enough or it's not the work of your dream, take the work that you can and try to gain experience and get the most of it. Because it's better to have some kind of work than not having nothing, any work. If you're coming to an experience unemployed, it's different if you're coming to an experience with a job, and you can explain what you why you come to the experience, to the interview, because you have a job, but you're looking for something differently and for a better job. Okay, so first of all, take any job you can and work, because it gives you a different situation when you come applying to job. If you go to a certain company for a job interview, I will go, before I go there, I will study everything about the company. Okay, so if you need to throw some phrases, you know what to phrase to tell. If you go for if you are negotiating with a football player in Maccabi Tel Aviv, so learn about Maccabi Tel Aviv and you throw some names of important football players and you get a good communication. Okay, so learn everything you can, be prepared for the interview like it's the most important interview of your life. And I will give it a lot of attention because it can make the difference. Other thing I would recommend to you, it's very important the way they see you first time. It's not that you need to be blonde with blue eyes. You need to dress accordingly. You need to stand accordingly. And you need to use your body language accordingly. What do I mean? If you talk in a very clear way and you talk not so fast, so you made a certain impression. If you talk like very fast and you know, this kind of talk when you don't confidence, it makes impression. So you can even practice before you go with somebody on the mirror. This is what I would do. If I go to an interview, I will think about it and I will think what I want to say and what I want to sell. Because we are always selling ourselves, as I said before. This is life, we are selling ourselves. So think, what do you want to sell? You want to sell somebody with a lot of motivation. So when you talk, you move your hands a lot. You talk clearly. You talk very in a certain way. Don't talk very fast. You just need to think what you want to sell. So you need to prepare yourself. You need to talk, to know about the company. You need to prepare your body language. And you need to come with some kind of experience. This is when I interview somebody. So first I'm checking the experience. If I see that he was in 5 different works in the last 2 years, I said this guy, he doesn't know how to keep a work. So this is a minus. Then if I see that we have good communication, that he is smiling, that he is understanding, that he is talking to me. So this is a good point in favor. And if I see that he is willing to travel, he is willing to work hard, and general impression, this is something that can help you to get the job. Okay, there's no secrets. There's no do this and don't do that. But if you prepare yourself better, you have better chance to get the job. I don't know. This is what I can tell you from my experience.
Okay, great. I mean, those are all the questions that I have. I don't know if anybody else has questions, but I know we're going on 1 hour and 15 minutes, so I don't want to take up your time, Gabriel, or I want to also.
I'm happy to help if they have questions. If I can help in some information, afterwards you can send my email. Also, I can try to answer anything. If I can help you, I will be happy to help.
Great. So yeah, that's all. These are all the questions that I have. I don't know if anybody else has questions, or what's remaining on the presentation. But I know we're already at 1 hour and 15. So.
Okay. If they don't have any question, and if they remember any question, you can write to me in the email. Not a problem, and I will be happy to help.
Amazing. Gabriel, for those that want it, would you be open to writing your email in the chat really quickly?
Yeah, sure.
If you go at the bottom of your screen, there's a little thing that says chat. And if you click on it, you can open it. You see it?
Not yet. Normally I see where is the chat, but since I'm sharing my screen, maybe this is a problem. Let's see.
You can try. Oh, it's because when you share your screen, it tends to disappear sometimes. It like goes up on another.
See, now I have it. I stopped sharing my screen, so I have it. So I put it here. I give you my private mail, okay? Gmail.com. This is my private mail. You can write there.
Okay, great. Okay.
Or you can write to the road mail. I have 10 different mails, so this is my private one.
Great. Okay, Gabriel, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot. Yeah, I really learned a lot about Israel, especially the interesting facts. They were really interesting. So I'm glad I had you go back because I didn't know a lot of that information. And thank you for sharing all of the insights. I definitely took down some notes.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Good luck.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.